Well, little by little, our mini campaign here to have sections of the Pension Act changed to allow pensioners to work and earn more without having their pension docked is gaining traction. It's moving ahead. Out of the Job Summit came the government's decision to trial a model whereby pensioners can earn $4,000 more per year without losing part of their pension. I think it's a great step forward, but it's not as far as opposition leader Peter Dutton wanted to go. It takes the yearly earn for pensioners from $7,800 to $11,800, which is $3,800 less than Peter Dutton's plan. He wanted to double it. Now, the pensioner still has to deal too with Centrelink and report fortnightly once they exceed the new bonus, and that is a big pain. It still requires legislative change and doesn't come in until December. Ian Henschke is the Chief Advocate for National Seniors. He's the one responsible for this development at the Job Summit, and I've got him right with us now. Ian, thank you very much for your time. You must be pleased that there is a move in the direction that you were calling for them to go.
Yes, well, it's not exactly what we wanted. And by the way, because it comes in at December and then runs through to the end of the financial year, it probably works out at about $7,800. So it is a doubling of the work bonus. But then with the complicated system that we've got, what it means is you've got to wait until December to get the extra $4,000. Then you can use that between then and June. Then it stops in June because it's time limited. And you still have to deal with Centrelink. Look, what we're saying, and we're going to be meeting with Treasury while we're here. I'm spending my Father's Day in Canberra with my family back at home. And so what we're trying to do is we're going to win this. We're going to win it because common sense tells you that if you take the handbrake off this system and let the car go, it will actually run. And this is why you can't have this system of snakes and ladders. You get a bonus one day, you get a penalty the next, you get a bonus this time of 4,000, starts in December, runs through till June, then it stops, and then you stop the car again, and then you go back and think about another system. Look, I really think you've got to make it simple. Like New Zealand, you simply say, anyone who falls under the income test, in other words, they don't have a lot of assets, they simply go to work and they pay tax. Now, you can set the tax rate at 32 cents, 32.5 cents if you want, but just give them a simple system where they don't deal with Centrelink. Everyone I've ever spoken to says that they dislike this problem of having to report your earnings fortnightly. A fellow was telling me this morning that his father is 89 and he's a lollipop man outside of school, you know, helping the kids cross over.
Yep.
And he exceeds his $300 a fortnight and he has to get on the phone and wait an hour sometimes to get through to someone to Centrelink and say, oh, I went $25 over this week because, you know, they called me in for the swimming carnival or whatever.
They've got to make it simple. It's far too complex, and that will dissuade people from taking up the opportunity. And I wonder why they had to make it temporary, Ian, because at the end of the day, that fails to me to recognise how successful a scheme similar to this is in New Zealand, and it fails to appreciate what was found by Deloitte's on this particular plan too.
Well, we've actually got Deloitte's to commission some new modelling to look at this and actually give the government the numbers, and that's what we're going to be presenting, and we are going to be showing them that this policy, not only will it work, if you get the right number of pensioners working, you are going to actually have it as a revenue positive for the government, a revenue positive policy for the government. So it'll be exactly what we said. It'll be a win for the pensioner, a win for business, a win for the economy, and a win for the government in trying to balance its books. So you cannot fault this. We have to be able to push this forward, and we are not going to stop. The $4,000 last Friday announced was a nice step because it's a step forward.
Yeah.
And we're never going to go backwards. We're like kangaroos. We've got no reverse gear, the seniors advocacy groups, no reverse gear.
I've got to say, though, it's also incumbent on two things occurring. One, pensioners grabbing this opportunity and running with it, and two, employers being willing to hire older Australians.
Look, look, I'll tell you something fascinating. We did this survey back in February and we found that the pensioners told us 20% of them were intending to go back to work. Now, then we said, what are the biggest barriers? Barrier number one, ageism. Barrier number two, Centrelink paperwork. Barrier number 3, Centrelink taking away the money, the 50 cents in the dollar. So the 2 out of the 3 problems are Centrelink, but the biggest problem is ageism. And I had a most remarkable thing yesterday. I had a beautiful photo sent to me of a pensioner working alongside a teenager at a coffee machine with a sign behind saying hiring now. And it just lifted my spirit because I thought of that wonderful situation where that young girl is working with an older woman and the 2 of them are chatting and she's making using the machine, the other one's doing the milk, and they're working together. And look, this is what we should have in our society. Older Australians working next to younger Australians, not this idea that once you get to 55 and you've got a bit of grey hair, you can start being pushed out of the organisation, and when you get to 66.5, you're a pensioner, go and sit in the corner and we'll have you a bit more work. I hate this expression, they might want to do a couple more hours, they might want to do a bit more work. There are pensioners out there that want to work full time.
Yes.
There are pensioners out there that would be happy to do that. And I've said this to you before, Chris, I'm of pension age. We've got people out there of pension age who are running businesses and countries and all sorts of things. You do not stop being an asset to your society when you are 66.5 and you are put on a pension, and then you're told, we don't want you to really work much. We'll give you a bonus if you work, and then we'll give you a penalty if you work too much. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
You are a great asset to the National Seniors Committee. I can only implore you to go crack some heads down there in Canberra and don't leave the place until you get them coming your way.
I won't crack heads. I'm going to show them the numbers,
right,
and I'm going to say these numbers add up. They've been done by Deloitte's.
Good.
You look at those numbers and you tell me where it's going to not be an asset for the country. This is the best policy for the future of the country.
All right, Ian Henschke, thank you very much for your time. We'll catch up again. Thank you.